were so curious, and I am still, how the disciples exercise authority over unclean spirits, the authority that Jesus gave them. I'm curious just because as a newly ordained priest, I'm nervous when doing everything that I'm supposed to do. This morning, before I went out, the choir asked me if I'm going to sing the verses like the mystery of faith, all through Him and with Him and with Him. I said, I'm not going to mess up just because I have not practiced and I'm anxious. And if I do not practice, then when I walk up here, it's gonna be. And last week, I went to a Flazy hospital for the first time to visit the sick patients from our parish. Then a lady asked me to anoint her. So I told Kim, I have never done it. I have my book with me. I learned the form when I was at St. Margaret, and I memorized it, but I don't know if it's gonna work. So I'm so curious to see how the disciples exercise their faculty by using the authority that was given to them. It should be very interesting to watch. And I'm sure you're gonna laugh because many of them, I bet they mess up. But really, no matter, as the choir said, no matter how you mess it up, it's gonna work. Why? In very Bastau accent, we're gonna ask why. Yes, because the disciples, they did exactly what the Lord told them to do. They were about like Amos in the first reading. He wasn't born to be a prophet, but he was called to be a prophet. And he only did what the Lord told him to do. Then the king told him, get away, go to other town, go to Louisville to prophesy there and get your bread. He said, no, I was sent to your country to prophesy. And I only do what the Lord told me to do. So I believe the disciples, they did the same. They only did what the Lord told them to do. And they went. They preached repentance. They drove out demons. They anointed people, the sick with oil. And they killed them. Cured, not Kill. I said so just because after I told Father Anthony, a Vietnamese priest in Louisville, that today, after I anointed 4 people, I told him, Father, today I anointed 4 people. He asked, if any one of them die? He said, no. So they cured them, not kill them. So, how can I be confident to say that? I have been a priest for only 47 days. Still a baby priest. The oil in my hand is gone, but I'm still a baby priest. And among you, I have been here for 30 days. Still too short. From my own experience. But I see it from you. I see it from this community. Last week I went to a Knights of Columbus meeting, and I met people who has been a knight for over 50 years. He has dedicated his life for so long. That is a long and faithful commitment to serve the church without any benefit. I mean, material benefit. And at that meeting, I met a man who told me that he is from a family of 21 children. I said, are you kidding me? It's enough for 2 soccer teams. 21 children, it means his parents, they were so generous. And they were so brave to believe and to exercise the vow that they promised at their wedding, that receive the child. Children that God can give you and educates them according to the teaching of the church. They are so brave, so generous to give life. The most precious gift that we can give to someone that is to give someone a change, an opportunity to be human, to come to the world. And those parents gave life to 21 people. How generous they are. And of course, how brave they are. They are so brave that they believe that God will provide them enough. And He has done. 21. Is this very normal? I told my cousin, they asked me, so Minh, so where are you now? I said, I'm living in an area there's so many people that's so generous. They're generous to give life. 7 children, 11, 15, and even 21. He said, wow, you are really living in heaven because you are living among so devoted people. Yes, I think she's right. You have your parents, your grandparents, they have done a great job by believing in what the Lord told them to do, by exercising the authority that not many people in the world that dare to do. In China, in Vietnam, and in Japan, in French. In Vietnam and in China, the government said 2 is enough. More than 2, everything, all the social support is going to be cut off. In Japan now, they don't have enough young workers. So the retired people have to go out and work. They are a rich country, but do not dare to give birth. Do not dare to give life to people. In French, they have to hire workers from other countries just because their population is getting too old. They don't have enough young workers. But in here, you are so brave to believe and to exercise the authority that God has given you. Another example. So they said, and my cousin and other people asked, tell me a little bit, people in the US, people in this diocese not far away from Vietnam. In Vietnam, we wake up at 4 and go to church at 4:30 just because we work on the field, on the rice field, so we have to go out before the sun gets too strong. That is because of the nature of the weather. But in here, in this diocese, in this country, when people say, hey, so tell me a little bit about the parents that, yeah, people in here, they go to church at 6:30. No, I'm sorry, at 6. And they pray the rosaries, 3 rosaries, and a divine chaplet. All of us, including me, sometimes I want waking up in the morning and say, oh God, I wish that I get sick today, that I don't have to go to church. See how holy I am. That's a public confession. But really, you have done it for generations. I say generations. Go to church even before the priest show up. to pray the rosary. And I heard that people in this parish, in this town, love making rosary and gave it to people, other people. So you not only you are so brave to do the very little thing by going in here, sacrificing yourself in the very early morning to pray for yourself, for your family, for the world. That is a big sacrifice. Making time for others. Sacrificing your comforts, get out of your comfort zone and to come over here and pray for people. That is so generous of you. Your parents, you is mean not all of us, the youth. We are not your parents or grandparents. And I'm going to talk about that later. People out there, they don't do it anymore. They said that you're wasting time in doing such thing. And in here, right behind me, right in my back, in a little room, I told my cousin, people in here, they love doing Eucharistic adoration, and they have it weekly. And not only they love the sacraments, so go to visit, do homebound visit, go to nursing home and hospital. I only have to do two things. Listening to confession and anoint them. That is the signs to tell how much you believe in God, in what Jesus Christ told you to do. It takes a lot of confidence and effort to do. You have done it, your ancestor has done it, and you all have done it very well. That is when I think about it. I said, well, now I know why this area is called the heavenly land. It's not only about this building. It's not only about the historical factors of this area. It's not only about the building over there. But first and foremost is the building of faith that your ancestor and you all have built within your heart. It's very stable building of faith that you build with the mystery of faith, of believing in what God told you to do. I think that is more important because all the buildings that we are seeing here, they have to renovate it time to time. If not, they will collapse. But the building that your ancestor and you all have built within your heart are living buildings. Because from that building, you are making room for people from all over the world to come and have a shelter within your heart. You are nourishing people by your sacrifice. And you are going in here in morning, coming into the chapel, or giving birth, and so many other things, kind of devotion you have done, help to bring the grace of God to people all over the world. You have made this area the heavenly land by believing in God, what God told you to do, and bravely exercise that authority. And now it's for the youth, and including myself. Who is here 35 years old? Raise your hand. Or under 35. From 35 to 1 years old, raise your hand. Yes, many. We are so privileged and we are obligated to protect and to live out the treasures, the traditions, the living traditions that your ancestors, your grandparents, great-grandparents has built to make this area the holy and the heavenly land. We are privileged and obligated to make this time tiny town to be most animated, vital town as the site we saw over there, the small and most beautiful town in the US, not only in the US, but in this world. That is obligation for us, and that is the privilege for all of us to make the tradition that we have been given a living tradition.